Cardano is about to see an explosion of dApps on the blockchain, with over 100 in the pipeline set to launch over the next few months, according to Charles Hoskinson. This right now is such an important time for Cardano. So in this video, we'll look at the latest info on some key projects launching on the blockchain, ready to give us DeFi trading, and get ready for a ton of new tokens to invest in and trade as well. Charles has returned from a trip from a few African countries, presumably checking on some big projects there as well, to really try and implement Cardano's technology at nation state scale on the continent. So that's interesting. Also away from the launch of these dApps as well. Before we get started though, I have a 20% discount on the crypto investor course in November, only 2 weeks left and then the price goes up. I have over 100 educational crypto videos that go over every aspect of crypto trading and investing. Plus we have private Discord groups as well. Get 20% off with code HODL on moneyzg.academy or just follow the link in description. Firstly, I want to highlight some transaction data from the Cardano Blockchain Explorer that shows over 230,000 transactions in a single day for the blockchain, which I believe is an all-time high for Cardano. I've noted in previous videos that the transaction count has also hit all-time highs previously, around 100,000 and 150,000, but now we top out at over 200,000 for a couple of days running, and things haven't even started yet on the blockchain. Once we have a few DEXs launched on the blockchain itself, this figure is without a doubt going to explode to millions of transactions per day. Transaction data is important for a variety of reasons. Firstly, proving that Cardano isn't a ghost chain like some might say, but also because in a general sense, more daily transactions has a positive feed through for every ADA hodler, as more transactions means more demand for ADA and is a sign of a healthier, larger and more prominent blockchain in general. As Cardano matures and other blockchains as well, it becomes less about the hype of just having an idea, and over time, institutions will value these chains based off of this fundamental data. So it's great to see Cardano growing, as many other blockchains are growing right now as well. We also get some important updates from Charles Hoskinson about key projects and milestones for Cardano, including some key dates for big upgrades that some shorter term traders might want to put in their diaries. Firstly, we have info from Charles that nearly 100 projects are near launch on Cardano over the immediate time frame of 3 to 6 months.
Now, there's a big constellation of dApps. People say, when smart contracts? They're already here. SpaceBuds is here. Nami Wallet's here. Every week there's a NFT drops that's happening. PAB is in the testnet, and it's rolling its way through to the mainnet. SIP 13 is being implemented in Daedalus, and SundaeSwap is coming. Others are coming. There's almost 100 plus applications that we're aware of that have a near launch horizon, 3 to 6 months.
It's going to be a really interesting time as we see which projects become the dominant players on Cardano and which fall by the wayside, which some of course will do. One thing is for sure, and that's transactions and demand for ADA will increase, and ADA will become the default base asset for DeFi on Cardano, much like ETH has been and is becoming for its ecosystem. Charles also highlighted that around 2,000 more projects are to be funded in the coming years.
And all the innovation that's coming from these 100 some dApp developers that are going to launch, and then probably 2,000 more will be funded and ready to go in the coming years. All of those trends indicate that this is a very healthy ecosystem.
These projects are a long way off, but Cardano does have funding in place through the Cardano Foundation, which is where funds are invested based off of votes from the community of ADA hodlers. So if you want to shape the future of Cardano and you hodl ADA, you can get involved with the voting. Talking about the nearer term though, we have further updates from many of the first projects to be launched, and from what I can see, these are really in the final testing stages before public rollouts. SundaeSwap, I do believe, will be the biggest DEX on Cardano, certainly in the beginning anyway, as the branding, like it or not, just makes it stand out from the competition. SundaeSwap are now going through a community voting process where ADA hodlers can vote for which stake pool operators run the SundaeSwap ISO, where users can stake their ADA and get some new Sunday tokens in return, and also what SundaeSwap call scoopers. To explain quickly what scoopers are, because of the way that Cardano employs UTXO for its accounting model, the same as Bitcoin, there's some specific pros and cons that are very different to how Ethereum works with its accounting model. UTXO makes DEXs a little bit more complex to build from a technical point of view in terms of dealing with many client orders placed at the same time on the DEX that may not eventually lead to a wallet actually spending coins. So to make the DEX as effective as possible, SundaeSwap will rely on what they call scoopers, which are third parties that aggregate and execute orders. Scoopers will actually be Cardano stake pool operators that will be paid a small fee for the work they do, but they'll also have a lot of power to see client transactions before they execute, which means they could have undue influence over transactions. So to keep them honest, their fees are kept in a smart contract and only paid after each month of transactions have been checked for no funny business. If they haven't done what they're supposed to do, the fees will go back to the protocol and the scooper license will be revoked. Another project that looks quite close to launch is Milkomeda with their Cardano Sidechain. They'll be the first chain to link Cardano with Ethereum, which, let's be fair, is absolutely vital for Cardano to attract both end users and Ethereum dApp developers to deploy their dApps on Cardano as well. Cardano and Ethereum are not compatible as they just use different code and are just different chains, but having a side chain like Milkomeda means that value can flow from one chain to another, and also Solidity smart contracts can, through the side chain, be deployed and execute on Cardano as well. This means potentially cheaper fees for developers and also means opening up a lot of dApps for Cardano users in the future, which is just positive for everyone. 2021, but more so 2022, will be about pushing for interoperability of smart contract chains like Cardano, Ethereum, Solana, and Polkadot. And Milkomeda is pushing ahead with compatibility for ADA, Solana, and Ethereum right now with their Flint wallet, which is actually able to wrap ADA coins into T-ADA and W-ADA, which is a wrapped version of the ADA native coins you pay for fees on the Milkomeda sidechain. According to the team, the private testnet is in operation now for developers to use their Solidity smart contracts on Cardano, but for end users, all of this will, well, should anyway, happen in the background through the team's wallet, which they call Flint Wallet. Apart from DEXs, of which there are many in the pipeline, we also have lending protocols and money markets aiming to launch like Liquid and Meld. Both will aim to provide users options to lend out ADA or other stablecoins to be built on Cardano to earn yield. Liquid and Meld have different approaches, but both are building now. Meld are currently building out support for what they call melded tokens, which are wrapped versions of other big coins on other blockchains like ETH, BNB, and REN BTC, which will mean you can use other assets as collateral to borrow against without giving up your price exposure to those assets. If you're wondering when these projects will actually launch, I'm looking towards the start of next year, to be honest. Even though these projects are making good progress, there are still some key upgrades that Cardano needs to make before the dApps can be launched to the public, including key Cardano upgrades to something they call the wallet backend and the PAB or the Plutus application backend. On November 5th, Cardano released this tweet about the PAB where they invited the developer community to test the PAB on the Cardano testnet, which is another step towards getting all of the smart contracts needed for the dApps actually tested and then running on the mainnet. It won't be until all of this testing is done and the PAB fully deployed that we'll get any of the more complex applications like DEXs and lending protocols on Cardano. So news on the PAB is the key thing to look out for over the coming weeks and months.
The Plutus application backend, Tim, is our Plutus library, and it's where we've created different amalgamated functionality to make it easier for smart contract developers to interact with their dApps. So it gives them a library of all the kind of classic things that they actually need to do end-to-end functionality on their dApps. Now, the critical thing we've been working on is making sure that we can complete our Plutus transactions by integrating into the wallet. So once we've integrated into our Cardano wallet, or AKA the wallet backend, we're able to complete the Plutus transaction and add in signing information, fees information, and other pieces that we actually derive from the wallet itself. And now we're in this position where we've got a full round trip as a test bed on our testnet, so that we can get ourselves and other partners deploying onto the testnet and simulating their full round trip and functionality and UX for their dApps. We're continuing to work with our 7 close partners. We've actually been working with them now for about six months. And they're all doing a variety of different interesting things, from a betting oracle to an NFT marketplace to DEXs. And there's some really, really good things that are going to be coming out shortly. I can mention a few of those partners. One partner that is useful to mention is we're working closely with MLabs on their NFT marketplace. And they're working really closely with us because we're actually using them as our first end-to-end test case. So with that NFT marketplace, it's now deployed onto our testnet, and we are actually creating transactions through it and testing our integration with the PAB and the wallet backend. And over time, over the coming days and weeks, what we'll be doing with MLabs is actually creating a UI on that dApp, and then also integrating into some of the light wallets that are actually in existence out there, whether that's Nami, Jira, or others. It's astounding the sheer number of companies that are now starting to develop dApps for the Cardano network. It's going to building it up to something very exciting. What are we doing with those guys? Well, SundaeSwap are one of the ones that are actually, very close now. They're on our testnet, and we're doing a lot of work in terms of performance testing and load testing to understand the characteristics of how and when they deploy their dApp, what actually we're going to see and how best to support them in their delivery. There are a number of others that we're working with, and we'll be doing exactly the same with them. Giving them an insight into our teams and actually getting some really useful and helpful information from them to see what their impact's going to be on our network and what is the best way for us to manage it going forwards.
So then the PAB is being used by a number of projects right now, including for NFTs and SundaeSwap, who are testing out how their applications actually interact with the actual Cardano blockchain, which is probably why we see transaction data on Cardano rising like it is, as they are clearly testing out transactions and putting a larger load through their testing applications to see how it will actually work in the real world. Then also in the longer term, we're looking for major updates to Cardano in February, June, and October next year that will produce key upgrades for sidechains and scaling.
There are 3 major updates next year: the February HFC event, the June HFC event, the October HFC event. These are the big changes, which add in lots of new things. New eras, new ledger rules, special accommodations for Hydra and Voltaire, the infrastructure for sidechains, these types of things.
So then, like Charles said, the PAB and wallet backend have their own upgrade cycles, which is good as they can be upgraded and developed at any time. But February is the next big release to look out for when it comes to adding more support for sidechains and scaling solutions like Hydra, which will support longer term growth for Cardano. I have no idea when exactly dApps like SundaeSwap, Meld, Liquid, and many other DEXs will actually launch, but the PAB and wallet backend development is key, so I keep an eye on announcements about this from Cardano's official accounts, and from there it's really a matter of waiting for the actual dApps to roll out their products, which will see a flood of demand for ADA and their tokens when they launch, in my opinion. Still a long road ahead, but it seems like now is the calm before the storm. If you want to see how I make investment decisions and learn more about crypto, I do have 20% off the Crypto Investor course in November. Over 100 videos and more will be added over time for free for existing members, plus the private Discord groups as well. Just enter code HODL on moneyzg.academy, or I'll leave the link in the description. I'm James with MoneyZG. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.